All right, we're doing this thing. Mic check 1, 2. Type a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. Type a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know. Chat, can you hear me? Chat. No? Mic check, check, check. Okay. I think we're running a little bit of a delay here. So here's how this works. You get to come on this live with me. You get to ask me whatever questions you have for creating music. And we're going to do this live in real time. So we have got a Google Meet set up. You're going to go click on the link. You're going to go into the Google Meet. You're going to find Natasha there. Natasha's going to take care of you. So you can get you all the permissions we need to bring you on to a live thing and have you be part of a YouTube video. It's real quick. It takes 30 seconds to do. And then you're going to jump in and rock and roll. Okay, so what we're doing today is by the way, is my video the right way around or is it backwards for you? Because I'm looking at mine. It looks pretty backwards. We're using a different system today than what we normally use. We're rocking and rolling here. We're having a great time. First time live in a little bit here. Totally not sick and recovering from an illness. All right. Excellent. Crutch, Chandri, I see you guys. All right, so go ahead. I'm putting a link in the chat. Let's see if we do it like that. Yeah. Okay. Click that link. I just put it in the chat. There we go. Click that link. Go talk to Natasha. Natasha will get you taken care of, and she'll actually get you in so you can ask me your question live, and I will get you your answers. Anything to do with music, creating music, rock and roll. Now, while we're waiting here, I'm going to tell you about a question I actually got yesterday from someone who I was working with, and it was so cool. So I was doing this challenge thing where we help gamers create their first compositions ever. It's called the Compose Legendary Video Game Music Challenge. And I helped someone yesterday, an awesome guy. And he actually created his first compositions, and then he created a second one, and then he created a third one, and it was like blowing his mind. He was going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. He literally said, and I quote, I feel like I've unlocked a superpower. And his next question made a lot of sense. He was like, all right, you've just shown me how to create melodies for like thematic music. All right, great. Thematic, as in it has a melody, it has a theme. We're creating music like that. And what do I do next? Like, is there a melody for bass? Is there a melody for drums? What do I do here? I was like, well, yeah, actually, I like to think of everything as being a melody. You think of a drum groove, it has this, that's like a melody in and of itself. You would say, well, no, technically that doesn't fit the definition of a melody, and you'd be right. However, thinking about it from melodic terms for me has always worked. And so that's something I shared with him and I'm sharing with you now. Whatever layer, whatever level you're working at in your piece of music, and again, we're thinking thematic music as opposed to, let's say, atmospheric music. Think in terms of melody. And yes, that means your drums. The groove can be like a melody. The bass can be like a melody. The guitar can be a melody. Yeah. So there's so many different ways that you could just think about having one skill, and that's the skill of creating melody, and put that everywhere. By the way, if you're just joining us, I'm going to put the link in the chat. We're doing live call-ins. We're going to do like a live show today where you're actually going to come on the stream. And I just put a link in the chat. Go and click on that. Go talk to Natasha. Natasha will get you taken care of. We just need you to sign a permission slip that says it's okay for you to come on this. It'd be the same thing if you're doing a Mr. Beast video. You got to say, hey, it's okay that my face is going to be on your channel and my voice is going to be on your channel. It's a respectful thing to do. Just say, hey, is it cool if we use your face and your voice? Because your face, your voice is here. And that's how we're going to rock and roll. So go ahead and talk to Tasha. It takes 30 seconds to do. We made it so easy. It's just a couple clicks. And then you'll be on here live hanging out with me. Ask me whatever question you want about music. Now, if we don't get anyone in the next couple minutes, I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling here and teaching you guys some really cool stuff. So, I want to share a story with you. I want to tell you about the first time I ever got a musical instrument and how that all went down. So I was 6 years old, or maybe 7. No, I was 6 years old. I'm sitting in the back of my parents' car, and we're driving down this big old street called Route 59 in Nanuet, New York. and it was close to my birthday. My birthday's in November. I think it was like late October. And we're driving down, it's dark, and we pass by this music store called Alto Music. And in the window of this music store were all these guitars hanging in the window. And there was this beautiful light behind them, and they were all shiny and glistening. I said to my parents, I think I want a guitar. And they're like, well, you said you wanted Lego a week ago. You sure? Because, kids, they change their mind every 2 seconds, right? They said, well, okay, you sure you want that guitar? Because you said you wanted a Lego set 2 weeks ago. I was like, no, I want the guitar. And so we got the guitar. You're waiting in line? I'm going to make sure, Natasha, let people in. Let people into the meeting. Oh, there you go. We have people waiting. Okay. Natasha, can you see the people waiting? All right. I'm gonna adjust this here. All right. So that yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, we got him in. We got him. Hey, Chandra. All right. Okay, let's see if I can. Well, looks like today is gonna be interesting. All right, I'm gonna turn my video and audio up. I'm gonna be admitting people today. We'll figure that out for next time. All right, Natasha's gonna take care of you. We are live. This, this is happening live and in real time. Okay, so I'm gonna hop back in there in a minute. That that is happening live and in real time. My. All right, cool. So I was like, all right, I want a guitar. Now, why did I pick that I wanted a guitar instead of a Lego set? Well, all right, it came down to this, and maybe you've had a similar story to this, is that it really came down to, for me, that I wanted attention. I wanted the attention from other people. And I had this experience when I was 6. I picked up this guitar in my grandmother's house and they started to play. And like all of a sudden I was getting this attention from the people around me, people who I craved attention from, my family. And it was like this hallmark moment for me that just blew my mind. And so it's like, was I destined to make music, or was it really just me wanting to get love? I think it was just me wanting to get love. And here we are, like almost 30 years later, 28 years later. Crutch McGee asks, how hard would it be to learn to compose music without owning instruments and having barely any experience with any either? It is no problem at all. You do not, all right, hear me on this. You do not need any previous musical experience composing music in order to create, release professional quality music at the highest level. You don't need to be able to play an instrument. And just look, as an example, at some incredible dance music composers, like some EDM composers and some electronic music composers who don't play any instruments, who create incredible professional quality music. It is absolutely not a prerequisite that you need to be able to play an instrument to create any music in any genre, in any style for the rest of your life. That is the beautiful thing about software. There's a whole bunch of free software out there too you can use. A great place to start is a software called BandLab. BandLab. It's free. You sign in, you rock and roll. It's a digital audio workstation. It's hosted in the cloud. And again, it's free and you can actually start creating music right now, and you do not need any previous musical experience. There's doers and there's dabblers. Dabblers will always find an excuse. Doers always find a way. Now, just because you didn't know, right? I didn't know that I needed nothing in terms of being able to start music. That doesn't mean you were a dabbler, but now you have the information, you have a choice. You have a choice in front of you now. You can go create music, you can go experiment, go sign up for BandLab, go make music, or you can make an excuse. Which will you be? My challenge to you, be a doer. All right, awesome, fantastic. Crutch McGee, thank you for your questions. Okay, we are answering music questions live and in real time today. We are cooking. And go ahead and type any questions you have. I'm putting the link in the chat. You can hop on live. We're doing live consultations today. Hop in that link and just type a 1 in the chat once you go ahead and join that link. Now, Daniel says, I'm definitely guilty of being a dabbler. Okay, here's the thing. Are you guilty of being dabbler, or is that just a choice you made in the past? And is that a choice you can change in the present? Ooh, now we're talking. Okay, is your identity, do you identify as a dabbler? Right? If I said, well, all the dabblers in the audience, please stand up. Are you one standing up? Okay, so you don't need to be that way. That's just a story you've been telling yourself. And if you told yourself that story long enough and loud enough, you're going to believe it. So I invite you to tell yourself a different story. Tell yourself, I used to be a dabbler, but today and from now on, I am a doer. And if you can't do that silly thing, all right, mic check 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2. How's that now? Let me know in the chat how that is now. We're figuring it out. This is live. We are live. Go ahead, let me know. Is that better now? Type a 2 in the chat if y'all can hear me. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2. We're doing it. In the words of Aretha Franklin and Dave Stewart, women are doing it for themselves. I'd say, well, hang on. Not a woman. And that's okay. Okay, cool. Right. So look, I always tell people, look, there's like 4 steps to changing anything you want to do. So it's like, number 1, you got to take action towards being the thing that you want to be. All right, so let's say you don't want to be a dabbler anymore. All right, you want to be a doer. All right, so you're going to take action. You're actually going to do something. Now, here's the thing. You got to then go do that action again tomorrow, right? And that then becomes a habit. Now, you do the habit enough times, then you start to not really need to think about the habit anymore. The habit becomes a routine. And then you do the routine enough times, it just becomes part of your identity. It becomes the story about you that you tell yourself. And the strongest driver in every human is to stay consistent with their identity, because we're all a little crazy sometimes. I don't know about you. I've had times where, like, I say I want one thing and I do another, right? But then in my head, I always figure out a way to justify it to myself. You might be going to doubt yourself. Tell me the audio cut out again. Mic check 1, 2. Come on. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2. All right, how about now? Are you getting me though now? All right, great. Sweet. You can hear me. Awesome. Yeah, so by the way, this is our first time doing a live, and we got like a whole team thing running here, and we might be muting each other by accident. We're going to figure it out. All right, we got a couple more questions. We have our first live coming in, which is going to be Chandri in just a moment here. Awesome. So we have a couple more questions here. So you have a question here. Recently, I've learned music theory from your books. Yeah! And started digital music production. Congratulations. And I'm confused by how you identify notes by ear. How do I identify them? All right, don't tell me it is by time. So yes, part of it is by time. However, I use a software called Earmaster. And everyone who comes into our books and courses gets access to Earmaster as well. And Earmaster, it's like lifting weights for ear identification. And so understanding the theory is fantastic. Once you understand the theory, then it's like, okay, how do I hear the theory and understand what I'm hearing and relate that back to the understanding that I have in my head? And that's the ear training. It does take time. Okay. Let's see if we can get Chandri on here. There he is. Chandri, how you doing, dude?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Long time no see. Welcome to the live. Dude, we're doing it live. By the way, Chandri, you're the first ever live guest here on Music Theory for Gamers. So can I just give you, just me to you, a little clap right now? All right, Chandri, what's your question for me?
So, I've had an earlier conversation with you in private where I have gotten access to a course from you.
Yeah.
And my main thing I'm kind of against right now is I'm wondering if this is the right step to take. Because I've been composing for a couple years now, and I'm wondering if I'm kind of the course part that I've been assigned, if this is on my level currently.
Did you finish the course already?
No, I am. I think about halfway.
Okay. So, am I hearing you correctly? You feel like some of the ideas are basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Some of it feels like review. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're wondering, is this a good use of my time?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Is it all right if I tell you a story?
Go ahead.
So when I was 16, I went to music camp. And at music camp, I did the fundamentals of music. Helped me so much. Did all the basics. Then when I was 18, I got ready to go to music college. Do you know what I did when I was preparing to go to music college? I did the fundamentals. I did the basics.
Okay.
And then after I got into my first music college, guess what I did for a whole year?
The basics then.
Oh, I did the fundamentals and I did the basics. Okay. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not quite done with music school yet. Let me go to a second music college. I went to a second music college. You know what I did there?
The basics.
I did the fundamentals and the basics. Then I was like, you know what? I think the way these two schools taught music theory, we could do it better. So I wrote a book. And then I tested that book out on dozens of students. And you know what I did the entire time I was writing that book and testing it out on students?
The basics.
The basics. And then I was like, you know what? We need a workbook for this. So I made a workbook, and I made a workbook on.
The basics. Yeah.
Then I was like, you know what? We're not done yet. We need a full video course. So guess what I did? I made a full video course on.
The basics. Yeah.
And now, because the basics are so solid for me, I never, ever, ever have to think about it ever. And I just create whatever I want. And I use that music theory, and it's there. I don't need to think about it. So my question for you is this. When you're creating, do you ever have a moment where you need to think about what it is you're doing as opposed to just doing it? And when it comes to the theory and figuring out a chord or a melody or thinking anything in terms of that technical aspect when it comes to theory?
The technical aspect. You mean just like figuring out a chord progression, for example?
Sure. Like, what key am I in? Like, what chords, like, what's the secondary dominant I could use here? Like, anything like that.
No.
You don't need to think about it. So you know it so well, it just comes out? Okay. Well, in that case, I invite you to do two things. I will tell you the same thing I tell like VIP clients who come in who I work with one-on-one. You're working on music theory level 1?
I believe. I think so.
Okay. That's a 10-hour course. Like, you can get that done in 2 days.
Okay.
Crush that into dust. Take 2 days, do that. And then what you'll find is in your books and courses profile. When was the last time you logged into your books and courses profile?
That's been a while. Yeah.
Okay. Log in there, because we've added like 13 new courses, all specifically for game music. And there's actual video that's going to walk you through my recommended progression for you. So my honest recommendation for you is, even if it's basic for you, go through and crush it into dust. Take a couple hours to do it. Go look at level 2 music theory. Crush that into dust. And the reason for that is, even people who've been to music school, music college, who come into our programs, go look at that level 1 music theory and they learn a couple new things.
All
Right?
Yeah.
So go, like, it's just a couple of hours. Just sit down, level 1, get it done. Level 2, get it done. Level 3, get it done. And then go through the instrumental inspiration course. And then go through the mixing course. And as you're doing that, use the community, Chandra. Share in the community. Like, share pieces of music you're working on. Like, if you're not sharing once a week, in my opinion, you're doing it wrong. So, like, even if it's a half-finished piece, even if it's just a sketch, even if it's just idea, share, 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 and then you'll be getting my feedback. And then the speed at which you're going to create and go just speeds up so much. Make sense?
Got it. Yep.
All right, cool. So what are you committed to doing from this conversation?
I'm going to finish the course and then move on from there.
Yeah. And then do level 2, level 3. You can get more and more advanced, and then go do all the other courses too. We've got this giant 2-tier progression now, specifically for game music, all built out. Yeah,
Right.
There's some really, really cool stuff there for you. But some of it might not make sense if you don't have the beginning totally solid.
Got it.
All right, can I give you an air 5, sir? Boom. Chandra, my heart to yours. It's so great to see you, dude. Any other questions for me?
No, that's it.
All right, awesome. One more air 5.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, great to see you, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that was Chandra. I'm going to go back to the chat here. Okay. You have a question, which is, I remember learning how to hear the intervals on piano. Then when I attempted to apply it, well, I could only identify parts of themes especially made on the piano and not other instruments. Okay. So the question is like, all right, I learned intervals, but then when I went to apply it, I couldn't do it. All right. So I'm going to give you some tough coaching on this. Guess what? If you learned something and then you went to use it and you couldn't use it, you didn't learn it. I'm going to say that one more time. If you learned something and then you went to use it and you couldn't do it, you didn't learn it. Learning means you can change your behavior, right? So if you weren't to the point that you could actually change your behavior in the desired way from the thing that you were learning, you didn't finish learning it. Go back, do it again. If then still it doesn't work, go back, do it again, and keep going back and doing it again until you've got it. Intervals are what I call a chunky monkey, as in they are a thing that, oh man, it takes a minute to learn. It really does. Yeah, those intervals and then calculating them, memorizing some of the interval distances. It's a fair bit of information to program into your brain, but once you have it forever. And the test to know if you have it is if you've actually learned it, meaning can you engage in the new behavior that you want to have? Can you engage in that new desired behavior? Yeah, and if you give up after that, that's a low pain threshold. It's like you're gonna have pain either way. All right, there's two types of pain, and you're gonna have them either. No matter what you do, you're gonna have pain in life. All right, so you're either gonna have the pain of learning to do the thing right now, which is gonna be uncomfortable to do, sitting down, forcing yourself to get it the next day, get it the next day, get it the next day. Oh, I've got it. There's gonna be pain there. There's gonna be discomfort. Or number two, you can have the pain that you titrate out, that you put little crumbs of pain and you sprinkle it over years of regret and just feeling the failure sink into your bones. And then just those stories inside your head that you start telling yourself of like, oh, you couldn't even do that. And then you don't feel so great about yourself. It's like, which pain do you want? Because you're going to have the pain either way. You just get to pick which life you want to live. Do you want the pain that's instant up front and then you get the thing that you wanted? Or do you want to sprinkle the pain out like a trail of breadcrumbs over years and years and years until you die? I didn't make the rules. It's biology rules. I don't know what to tell you. I love to tell you that there's different rules, but them's be the rules. I'm gonna put a link in the chat again here. Go ahead and click that link. Natasha will take care of you. She'll get you hooked in for a live conversation. We'll get you live here on this Q&A sesh we're doing here. This has been fun so far. This is going well. I know that Natasha can't really see it. Natasha, I'm giving you an Air 5. You're doing a great job, Natasha. Air 5s to Natasha. You're doing awesome, dude. I got Natasha open on another thing over here. Yeah. So caretaker is like, oh my gosh. See, here's the thing. Look, we can also, like at the fundamental level too, you have two choices. You can bury your head in the sand and pretend like life is not going to pass you by and pretend that things won't hurt. And you can pretend that like you're not going to regret not doing the things you're going to do. Or you can pick your head out of the sand and like face the pain and discomfort of doing the things that you actually want to do. And then doing the work that is required to actually do the things you want to do. And then on top of that, doing so much work of the thing that you want to do that it would be unreasonable that you actually not get the outcome. Because here's the thing, we can't control the outcome. We can only control the inputs. So we need to put so much on the inputs that it would be unreasonable that we not get the result we want on the other end. Yeah, and by the way, the answer to everything is the basics, right? So it's like, man. And I'll tell you too, like if I sign up for a course or something, the way that I'm approaching it is like I will lock in and rock and roll with like the most bare, even if I already know something, I'm going for the bare bones thing all the way through the most advanced thing. Because I know that if someone specializes in a thing, there's going to be nuances, there's going to be distinctions, there's going to be things that I don't yet understand or that maybe going to unlock a next level for me. At least that's the way I approach it. Yes. All right, we are answering music questions today. This has been fun. This has been going good. I'm enjoying this. We're having a nice time. We're going to do some more of this. Okay, let's see. I don't see any more questions here coming in. All right, here. All right, let's unpack this. Calculating intervals is difficult on instruments you're not used to, even for beginners like me. Okay, calculating intervals is really difficult. All right, let me ask you this. Does calculating intervals have to be difficult? Yes or no? The answer is no. Okay. Does understanding intervals have to be difficult? Yes or no? The answer is no. No, it does not have to be difficult. In the same way that if you were to ask a baby, is walking difficult? They'd be like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. I keep doing this thing where like I stand up and then my legs give out and everyone cheers when I stand. It's very confusing. I like kind of get up on things because I want to see around. Everyone starts making noise and then I sit back down and everyone stops making noise. and I keep getting up and everyone's making noise and I sit back down. Hey, this walking thing's hard. Like, I don't really get how it works. But if I ask you now, is walking hard? You'd be like, no, I just walk. Right? And so having a story that something is hard, that's not reality. It's only hard right now while you're working on learning it. It's not that it's hard. It's that focusing down and sitting on actually getting something to the point that you can use it consistently. That's the difficult part. And then if you call it hard, guess what? It will be hard. Like, I never say doing something is hard. Like, never, ever. And if someone comes up to me and tells me something's gonna be hard, I'm like, no, stop. We're not saying that about it. Because if you say it, it's going to be true. Why? There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS, and its whole job is to point out things to you that confirm the stories you're telling yourself in your head. So if you buy a white Hyundai, all you're going to see the next 2 weeks are white Hyundais. What's that? That's your reticular activating system. It looks for confirming evidence to reaffirm whatever your current belief is. So if you tell yourself learning intervals is hard, guess what your brain is going to do? It's going to find confirming evidence everywhere in your life to prove to yourself that learning intervals is hard. Whereas if you tell yourself, all right, there's no story other than I am here now, and for the next 1 hour, I'm going to work on intervals. And I'm going to show up tomorrow, and I'm going to be here now, and I'm going to work for 1 hour on intervals. You do that every day for a week, that's 7 hours. You're going to get intervals if you spend 7 hours on it, like easily. And it might not take that long. So it's like the story of how we're choosing to get the meaning that we choose to give things is like so critical, man. It's like the difference between making it and not. Half the time, it's just the meaning. It's literally the meaning. You know, Tony Robbins talks about there's 3 decisions. The first decision is, what am I going to focus on? The second is, what meaning am I going to give the thing I'm focusing on? Number 3, what am I going to do? And then within focus, he talks about the 3 focuses. The first focus is, am I doing something that is inside my control or outside of my control? The next focus is, am I focusing on what's missing or what I have? And then the third focus is am I focusing on past, present, or future? Right? So if we just focus on the present, aka right now, we focus on what we have. I have 1 hour to work on intervals. We focus on what's inside of our control. That's me sitting down for an hour working on intervals. You'll master intervals, no problem. Right? But if you focus on what's outside of your control, oh, intervals are hard. It's like, what does that even mean? Right? That's just creating a story. That's creating a story that puts your brain into a loop of intervals is hard that you then never escape. And then that's your life. Like, oh yeah, no, music just didn't work for me. It's like, no, you didn't work for music. Oh, that was good. Clip that. Clip that. Okay. Crutch McGee says, honestly, I'm doing college for computer programming too right now. Knowing what you think it would be okay to try and learn your lessons, how to make music, or should I wait until I don't overwork? I don't know. All right, so here's the thing. It's like that framing in and of itself. Let's take all of that is focusing on things like outside of your control. Let's do this. So Crutch McGee, we're gonna do this live in real time. Crutch McGee, can you get on the live here? This would be so much easier to do on the live. Crutch McGee, hop on. Hop on the live, Crutch McGee. This is gonna be so much easier to do live. This is gonna take us so long to do by text, and it's gonna go so quick with the conversation. Crutch McGee, click that link. Go talk to Natasha. Natasha will take care of you. Yeah, Crutch McGee, do that. Because there's like, I can give you a broad stroke answer, but it's not going to be super useful for you. Right. So Uzario says, oh yeah, it's a very good tip. Like, every new thing, learning is difficult in the beginning. But it's even saying learning is difficult in the beginning. Don't even say that it's difficult. Just say, I'm learning a thing. And then just whatever feeling you're feeling while you learn it, just accept that feeling as part of the feeling of learning the thing. You don't need to label it as difficult. Things don't need labels, right? We can just sit down and do it, and we don't need to label it. We can just be with the thing. Be fully present with the thing. Because if we're busy labeling something, we're actually taking ourselves out of the present and being fully connected with it. Right? So it's not that I'm doing a good job or a bad job. It's I'm fully present, and to the best of my capabilities, I'm delivering. Right? And when I do that, I'm not judging it. I'm not labeling it. That means my brain's not going to make up a story about what's going on. I'm just here doing what I'm doing. right? Just like show up and just do intervals, right? It's not about doing a good job or a bad job. It's not about difficult or easy. It's just, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this thing until I've got it. That's it. But that's literally it. All right. Let's see. All right. I don't see Crutch McGee in here just yet. All right. So Crutch McGee, I'm going to give you broad strokes here. I don't see you popping into that live thing. So here's the question. The question is about splitting focus and splitting time. All right. So let's say you're in college for computer programming, right? And, well, here, let's put this up. Okay. I'm in college for computer programming, knowing that, what do you think would be okay for me to learn from you lessons on how to make music? Should I wait so I don't overwork? All right. So what does overwork even mean? All right. What does overwork mean? Okay. The times in my life where I burned out, it wasn't from overwork. It's because I was giving a meaning that was stressful to the work I was doing. I was labeling it in a way that I awarded myself the feeling of stress and anxiety around it. So that's number one. It's like, burnout doesn't have to happen until you get to physiological burnout. And within that too, there's this awesome guy. His name's Mo Gawat, and he talks about your stress. So it's like, so you have like real events of stress, then you have the little stories you tell yourself that are stress, and all those like stack up together to really create a lot of stress. But it's cumulative. It's across all these different things. Okay. And now if we think about, all right, how do I reduce the stress internally inside of myself? It's like, all right, let's change the meaning of it. So instead of saying overwork, it's like, okay, can I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night? Yes, great. Then we're set. Probably not going to physiologically burn out. If I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours and I'm not working out like crazy, like physiological burnout, we kind of got that handled, as long as inside of yourself, you're not giving a stressful meaning to what's happening. But if you're saying all this stuff is happening and it means I'm not good enough, that's a stressful meaning. And so you're going to feel stressful inside of yourself. Oh, I, got an A- instead of an A. I'm a terrible person. If you're giving yourself that meaning, that's going to be a stressful meaning, which is going to increase your cumulative stress. Right? So let's assume you're not going to give anything an unempowering meaning. You're only going to give empowering meanings to things, and you're not going to award yourself stress on the inside. Right? Great. Awesome. Do you have 1 hour a day that you can spend on creating music on average throughout the week? So about 7 hours in the week, and maybe in 3.5 hours, like 30 minutes on average, which doesn't mean you're spending does not mean you're spending time on music every day. It means that you're going to carve out, maybe it's going to be Wednesday afternoon and Friday morning and Saturday and Sunday, you're going to have time for music. Right? So it's like, as long as it's not impacting your studies, go ahead and create music. I have so many people in my programs who have full-time jobs and still make time to make professional quality music, because it doesn't take that much time. It's just about blocking that time off on your calendar and just rocking and rolling with it. That's it. It's not a complicated thing, and it doesn't need to be difficult. Right? And so even like, should I try to learn from your lessons? No, you cannot try. Yoda had it right the first time. Do or do not. There is no try. You physically cannot try to do everything. You're either doing something or you are not doing something. It does not go either way. You're either doing something or you are not doing something. Hear me on this. There is no in between. You cannot try to do something. You're either not doing it or you're doing it. Like, try to touch your phone. You're either touching it or you're not. You cannot try to do it. Right? So even then, and now back to the overwork idea. It's like, all right, how do I do this so I don't overwork? It's like, okay, I have Jewish heritage, and I go to these Passover Seders with my family, and it's such a beautiful celebration of just Jewish culture, Jewish heritage, the tradition. It goes back and it's such a beautiful moment. And part of the story, it's the story of Exodus, which is it's a book in the Bible, Exodus, but it's also in the Torah. It's Old Testament stuff. And the story is a story of people who were slaves who escaped bondage into freedom. And when I think about overworking, I think about my ancestors going all the way back, like tracing all the way back to these people who were slaves in Egypt. And I'm like, okay, were they working 12 to 14 hours a day? Probably. Were they literally slaves? Yeah, that's part of the story of coming out of Egypt, right? And so it's like, all right, if they could do that, can I work 8 to 10 hours a day and like be okay with it? It's like, probably. So it's like overworking. I'll tell you one time I did overwork. I was lifting heavy 3 times a week and doing live streams and writing, and I was giving unempowering meetings to things. And one day I found myself literally, I was so tired, I laid down in the shower and fell asleep. And so I go to my fiance and I'm like, hey, I just fell asleep in the shower. I think I might be pushing too hard. She was like, what are you doing? That's overworking. So if you find yourself falling asleep in places you shouldn't be falling asleep while you're already sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, that's overworking. If you're not hitting that, in my estimation and in my opinion, that's not overworking yet. But hey, that's just this guy's 2 cents. And I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just sharing what's worked for me. No, Crutch McGee, hop on audio. Hop on audio. Like, guys, if you're out and about, if you're at the store, like, hop on. Like, let's be messy here. We're doing this live. And by the way, I'm putting a link in the chat here. I got time to take one more call in here. Call in, click that link. Natasha's going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure I admit you here because we set our settings a little funky today, but we're gonna sort it out. Caretaker asks, should you take a break from consistent music creating, and for how long should the break be? Okay, there are no shoulds. Anytime I find myself saying the word should, that's a story usually someone else made up, right? So I should have more work-life balance. Okay, said who? Who said that, and why should I do that? So anytime I find myself saying should, that for me is the big warning sign. That's like all the alarm bells go off because that's someone else's story, not mine. So my question is, do I want to take a break from making music right now? Yes, no. If yes, I do it. If no, I don't. How long do I want to take a break from making music? I'll decide that. But there is no should. Should is someone else's story. That's someone else's idea. Inside of you, you know the answer. So go inside of you and say, what do I want? And you might need to close your eyes. You might need to put in earplugs to really get inside your own brain and really listen to your brain and what's going on. But listen to yourself. What do you want? Not someone else's story, not someone else's idea of what your life should look like, not someone else's idea of work-life. I call it work-life allocation, right? Because I choose when I work and I choose when I don't, right? There is no balance in almost anything in life. It's about choosing what life you want. Right? So I choose my work-life allocation and then I cook from there. So it's like, should I take a break? Ask yourself. How long should that break be for? Ask yourself. And get clear what you want out of your life. Get clear the result you want for your life and then live your life on your terms according to what you want. Now, here's an interesting thing. Crutch McGee says, I could work harder. Yeah, most of us can. And unless you're up 24 hours a day and like not sleeping, most of us can work harder. All right, Crutch McGee says, I think I could work harder and I often feel like I'm lazy when I don't want to be. And I make more progress than I definitely can, but I'm putting in the effort but I'm not putting the effort. All right, so basically what happens, let's put this up here. What happens when you know that you want something, all right, you know you want something. All right, real quick before I get this is juicy. Okay, I mean, you can overheat and just mess up the work. All right, the reason you're overheating is because you're putting unempowering meanings to things, in my experience. The overheat does not come from doing the work. The overheat comes from telling yourself unempowering, stressful, and anxiety-creating stories while you're doing the work. I cannot stress this enough. The reason why you feel like you're overheating is because you're in there and this is just me speaking from personal experience, is I'm in there, if I'm overheating, to be clear, there's a recipe to overheating. Okay, there is a recipe to overheating. There's a recipe to wanting to take a break. And you can consistently replicate that recipe. And if you know what the recipe is, you can cook a different recipe. All right, so my recipe for overheating while I work is number 1, to second guess myself. Number 2, worry about what other people will think. Number 3, judge myself for not being good enough. Number 4, constantly second guess myself as I'm creating. And if I do all those 4 things at the same time, I will overheat. Why? Because while in the middle of creating music, I'm doing all these 4 other things at the same time. That's going to be crushing down my creativity, crushing down my brain, increasing my physiological stress, because your body doesn't know the difference between a stressful situation you imagine and you actually see. And I'm imagining stressful situations where I'm not good enough and people are judging me. If I do that, that's a recipe. My stress is going to go up. My creativity is going to go down, and I'm not going to want to continue, and I will overheat. But if I change that recipe and I bake a different recipe, and instead I bring my, for example, cortisol down and I bring my testosterone up, then what's going to happen is I'm going to be in a state where I'm ready to rock and roll. I've got the focus and I'm ready to go. And then I don't tell myself stories and I just focus on being here and being here now, not labeling what I'm doing, but just doing what I'm doing. Now, your next question might be, okay, well, how do I bring my testosterone up and my cortisol down? They did a study on this. If you stand, I'll do it over here. You stand like Superman. Stand like Superman for 2 minutes with a smile on your face. All right, do that for 2 minutes straight. You will actually increase your testosterone. You'll decrease your stress chemicals. Then sit down and get back to work. And when you find your brain going back to the thing of telling yourself stories and you start labeling what you're doing, say, brain, thank you very much. I don't need you right now. Go and feel your body, create from a space of presence. What's presence? That means you feel connected to your body as you're creating. That's that flow state. It's where you're not thinking, you're just creating. All right. Question. I could work harder, but I feel like I'm lazy and more lazy than I want to be. And like basically, I feel like there's stuff I could be doing and I'm not doing it. Let's synthesize this. You have something you want to do. You know what it takes to do it, but you're not doing it. Why? Well, in my experience, it has to do with the dopamine floor. What's the dopamine floor, you ask? Well, the dopamine floor, this is something that I did coin, if you will. Let's see if this will do it. Yeah, this will do it. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, type a 2 in the chat if you can see my whiteboard. We're going to talk about the dopamine floor, and then we're going to call it a day here. Type a 2 in the chat if you can see the whiteboard. And Natasha, you can wrap up. We're good. Thank you, Natasha. You did great. Absolute rock star. You did fantastic. I give you another Air 5. Well done, dude. Great teamwork. We'll do better on the next one. You did great. All right. What's the dopamine floor? Check this out. This has been such a massive unlock for me. Like, oh my gosh. Dopamine floor. So I heard this guy called Alex Becker talking about something related to this idea. And I was like, all right, let's actually make this operational. So look, check this out. Here's the dopamine floor. So you have a reward system built into your body that uses many different chemicals, but the one we're going to focus on today is called dopamine. Okay. And dopamine is going to basically give you a reward for taking action on something and then also finishing something. But here's the thing. If, for example, I spend 8 hours first thing in the day playing video games are specifically designed to crank the absolute most out of my dopamine reward system, which means it sets my dopamine threshold up here, right? If I play video games, which means for the rest of the day and honestly the next 2 days, if I do anything that gives me less dopamine while I'm doing it than video games, I'm not going to want to do it. I don't want to do it. Why? Because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel motivating. It doesn't feel like I'm having fun while I do it. It literally does not feel rewarding. Why? Because we have, and I mean, I love video games as much as the next guy, and I play them. But the point is, they are designed to absolutely crank the most out of your reward systems to keep you playing. Okay. So if we know that dopamine is going to be up here and music theory is down here, which real talk, learning music theory probably is, compared to video games, what's going to happen? Well, if you're playing video games all day, you're going to go to music theater, you're going to go, this is not rewarding. Therefore, I'm not going to do it because it doesn't feel good to do. So the natural reward systems inside of yourself to get yourself to do the things you want to do, they're not going to work as well because you've blown them sky high all the way up here. So the question then becomes, all right, so how do I manage my dopamine floor so that I actually end up doing the things that I say that I want to do, the things that I really want in my life? Well, for me, the solution has been to strategically decide when I'm going to play my video games. So as opposed to doing them first thing in the day, I save them for last thing in the day. As opposed to doing them Monday through Friday, I'll do them Saturday on Sunday. If I'm in a big season of work, maybe I'll just do them on vacation, right? Because I know that me filling out a spreadsheet or creating an SOP, all right, me creating a standard operating procedure for customer success is like here in terms of how rewarding it feels, okay? And I know if I spend 3 hours before I do this playing video games and I've got my dopamine reward threshold cranked up to here, there is no way I'm sitting down and looking at a spreadsheet and building out an SOP. It's like it's just not happening. So the question then becomes, how much do you want these things that are not as cranked up as a video game? And it's, by the way, it's not just video games, and I'm not demonizing video games. I play video games and I love video games, but it's important to recognize the truth of how things function. Okay? So then it's saying, all right, what else gets us this dopamine up here? Well, that's going to be anything that feels really, really good. And I'm not going to say anything else on that. I'm going to let your brain figure that out because you're a smart person. You're a smart cookie. Anything else that feels really, really good is going to blow your dopamine threshold all the way up here. Which means anything that's not that and that's less dopaminergically rewarding than that, down here, you're not going to want to do it. Same thing if I eat really, really flavorful foods. So like last weekend, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I walked into this, they opened up this new place nearby. It's called Dave's Hot Chicken. I don't know if you've ever been into it. And I was like, oh yeah, get like some chicken, might be nice. Walked in, it was not that. It was like, it's deep fried, basically covered in Dorito powder, like crazy stuff. I ate it. I normally don't eat like that. I ate it, but what did that do? That raised my dopamine threshold up here so that like all the healthy stuff I normally eat, which by the way, usually tastes amazing, but it's down here. I was like not interested in eating that for the rest of the day because that dopamine threshold gets set so high. So there you go. Consider what things, consider the following. Here's how I do it. I go, okay, what is it that I want for my life? What do I want to look back at my life when I'm like 85 and know that I did? Do I want to do the things that I say that I want to do? Do I want to keep promises to myself? If yes, then I figure out a way to manage my dopamine system. And I manage my dopamine system to get myself the things that I actually want. All right, I've got 3 minutes here. We have a follow-up question. Think about doing too much. Yeah, doing too much. I mean, when is doing too much when it comes to making music? Well, it's like an accordion, okay? So when you first learn music, you're going to learn so much stuff. And you have this big old accordion. There's an accordion. And it's all stretched out. You're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. And then you're going to say, oh, no, actually, I really want to specialize in, whatever, hybrid action music. Or I really want to specialize in orchestral RPG, whatever it is. Okay? You're going to specialize in something. And when you specialize in something, what happens? The accordion comes in. All right? Now, once you get into that world, you're like, oh, my gosh, there's so many different subgenres. Let me learn all of them. The accordion goes out, and then we go, all right, no, actually, there's these 2 subgenres I really want to do, and the accordion comes back in. And that is like the way of life, as far as I can tell, in my experience. It's the accordion. All right, home slices. This has been real. I gave you an Air 5. Take it easy. And I'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye.